What better way for a son and father to bond over than their mutual love for the Dallas Cowboys? Hi, I'm Michael Davis with my dad, Mack. We're a star-studded son and dad duo on the star-studded Cowboys Network, powered by Fans First Sports Network and Boom Broadcasting. And this is Dad and the Boys. It's a great day to be on the Dad and the Boys podcast. If you're listening to us on Fans First or if you're watching us on Boom Broadcasting, thank you so much because for you...
Hey, before you get started, I need to look around because your room's been bugged, son. Mike Zimmer and Jerry Jones have been listening in on you, and so is that Micah Parsons, I do believe.
It's been quite the time. By the way, did I call it or did I call it?
You called it. You said that he would be signed before the season started, and at the 11th hour.
What have you been saying? Deadlines make deals.
Deadlines make deals. That's Jerry's famous words. And also, I called it, move over Lee Majors. We got a new $60 million man, Micah Parsons. I mean, not Micah, but Dak Prescott.
Micah will come next year.
Yeah, he's going to break the bank next year.
But that's kudos. Good job. I don't know how else we could beat that. So we've definitely peaked here. So everything else it's downhill for us, but hopefully moving on up for the Cowboys. We'll talk about their 33-17 win over the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. And I'll be welcoming Johnny Cleveland on. I was on his podcast this past weekend, but he'll be on Outta Pocket today on Boom Broadcasting and talk more Deshaun Watson. If you guys have found us through that appearance, appreciate the people from Fanatical Elfz for making that possible. But Dak Prescott locked in 4 years, $240 million.
Extension. So basically, we've got Dak and CD together for the next 5 years, folks.
We got
5 years.
5 years. I'm super excited. I know you and I have been talking about getting these deals done for a long time, and I think we're both pretty pleased with that.
I am, and I read where Jerry had heard the interview where Jerry had said that he wants Dak to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys for the rest of his time.
As he should be.
And I'm talking Jerry's time.
Oh.
No, he said that he wants Dak to be the quarterback for the rest of his life, basically.
Wow. That's high praise. Hopefully Jerry's not
hopefully he's not sick or anything. He's planning on living a longer life. But that's high praise because I mean it's befitting. I mean, Dak Prescott is one of the utmost leaders in the NFL, and what a face for the franchise. I not pulled any punches when he was first drafted. I was not a fan of the pick.
Honestly, me either, because of the DUI.
Well, and it's just didn't really know him.
Yeah.
And didn't really know the man behind the man. And, and when you get into that and you start reading stories and you start hearing the background of Dak Prescott and his upbringing, how could you not root for him? I mean,
he's lost his mom to breast cancer.
Since he's been a Cowboy, he's lost his brother to suicide. Just some of the stories you hear and just some of the way he presents himself is great move, Jerry Jones.
Yeah, I'm super happy. I'm super excited. And I know we'll talk this Browns-Cowboys game here soon, but Tom Brady even had high praise for Dak Prescott.
And Tom's the GOAT. I mean, he really is, like him or not. He is the quarterback head of the class.
Yeah, if Tom Brady gives you praise and you're at the quarterback position, take it, accept it, run with it. Because you can hate Tom Brady. You can be like, oh, he won too much, or da da da. No, he is.
Point is, he won too much.
He's won more Super Bowls than any quarterback, any team in NFL history. any franchise, and Brady's been around 25 years less than any franchise. But that was awesome. That was really awesome to hear Tom Brady praise Dak Prescott. It was awesome to see Dak Prescott get his money, and we'll get to see him for a long time. And we're actually going to take our commercial break right now because we wanted to split the Dak Prescott segment with the Browns and Cowboys. And so when we come back from this commercial break on Fans First, we'll deep dive into the Cowboys and Browns game right here on Dad and the Boys. Welcome back to Dad and the Boys. I'm Michael with my dad, Mack. And it's a great day to be a Cowboys fan. It's a great day to do this podcast because not only did Dak Prescott sign right before the Cleveland Browns game, but he showed up, he showed out, so did the rest of the team, and we won 33-17 in Cleveland. Now, I mentioned Johnny Cleveland and some of the Browns fans weren't pleased with it. We'll talk about that later today on Outta Pocket, exclusive to Boom Broadcasting. If you haven't, shot us a subscribe. We appreciate you doing so. But let's talk about this game in segments. One to highlight one side of the ball first. Which are you leaning towards?
I lean towards offense.
We're leaning towards.
We'll start with offense, since Dak's the man of the day.
Well, we're leaning towards the offensive side of the ball. Some key things I wanted to bring up here was Dak Prescott. Right after getting the money, the box score will show 19 of 32, 179 yards, a touchdown. People are going to look at that box score and be like, hey, he didn't do much.
Really, $60 million man,
But if you watch the game, if you look at the eye test, what was more important was him putting his teammates in position. And I don't think there was any other play more demonstrative of that than when he hit Brandon Cooks for that touchdown.
Honestly, when you look at Dak Prescott's game, think of it in this realm. Would we be talking about Dak Prescott, how great he was, if Dallas would have won 47-0?
Well, I mean, we saw that last year, and no, they didn't.
No, they didn't. But think of it this way. Would we be trashing Dak Prescott if he would have not played football IQ awareness in the game and put the ball at risk, threw passes that were intercepted, and when they had the game in control and turned the tide of the game? Yeah. Good thing is we won. Bad thing is, well, not necessarily bad. We talked about it on our covering Mike McCarthy's press conference yesterday, or on Sunday after the game. And we took in Dak played within his football team. And they went 0 for 5 in third downs in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
The game got a little bit sloppy. Mike McCarthy addressed that. He said, guys, we won't have to clean it up. This is September football. Really, we hadn't had a preseason. But, I mean, he managed the game appropriately and walked out of there with a W. And there's one record that they associate with quarterbacks and coaches, and that's wins and losses.
And he won. And I think he put us in the best position possible to win. I mentioned that Brandon Cooks pass when, the defender was unblocked. And Dak saw the pressure. Tom Brady analyzed this really well in a sum up of that play. And he anticipated Brandon Cooks to be right there, and he put it right on the money. Cooks didn't have to reach for it. Under pressure.
Yeah, they had an all-out blitz coming at him. And, looking at the running game, we got, 102 yards rushing?
Yeah, 4.1.
4.1.
Which is a
first down.
If you do it three times.
First down and some change. But the leading rusher for the entire game was Ezekiel Elliott at 40 yards on 10 carries for a 4.0 average and a touchdown. That's one of your 11 that you've called for the year.
That is one of my 11.
And folks, if you did not watch the game, I know the box score says 10 for 40, but that's a very, very misleading. That first rush that he had.
I mean, let's talk about it.
He leaped the guy.
I looked at you, and it was so important, right, that Ezekiel Elliott come out. I mean, there are three guys who really need to show up, like Dak, Zeke, CD. Dak and CD just got extended. Zeke just came back. All the criticism he received, all of the criticism the Cowboys front office received of not going out and getting anybody else, but instead going and get Ezekiel Elliott, who's washed. And I looked at you, and when he hurdled that guy, who was almost standing vertical at 6 foot, I looked at that, and I'm like, that's 2016.
And there again, you're inside the red zone, and you hand the ball to Zeke, and he scores. You got third down and 1 or 2 yards to go. You hand the ball to Zeke, and he gets up and he's doing this number right here, first down. That brought back memories that were pleasant memories, fond memories. And, I was so glad. I mean, did he rush the ball a lot? No, and that wasn't the goal. And Mike McCarthy said it all along. I mean, the carries are distributed amongst the running back room. Even a few receivers getting in the mix with CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. In his press conference yesterday, he mentioned, they in the past they've used Kevontae Turpin. It just keeps that defense guessing. And there again, all kudos to the Cleveland Browns. Their defensive front is amazing. I mean, they've got a really great defense, folks. And, a lot of people will talk about, how, our offense was pedestrian and our defense really took advantage of their injuries. Well, point blank, last year the Browns were 8-1 in Cleveland.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
And I want to. I mean, I'll probably get dinged on this, but I want to say that out of the 6 starts, that Deshaun Watson was 5-1.
Yeah.
So I mean,
he was actually.
He was. I mean, so you're not talking about Cleveland Browns probably will be in the playoffs this year again.
That might be where you get dinged. That might be where you get dinged.
I honestly believe that, they're not a bad team. That's a good team, folks, that we beat. And I'm just proud of the guys for going up and playing in a hostile environment. Although it kind of it almost sounded like a home game there toward the second half with the let's go Cowboy chants, which is typical if you've ever been to an away game. The Cowboys Nation said they take and represent themselves very well at away games.
Yeah,
we've been to a few, and it was a definite almost a home field advantage feel.
Yeah, and another thing I wanted to highlight was the offensive line versus defensive line. Tyler Guyton versus Myles Garrett.
Tyler Guyton got robbed. I'm sorry, that was a BS call. That was not a sack, folks. Tyler, I'm sorry they did that to you, my friend. That was a BS call. The ball was, Dak's arm was going forward with the ball in his hand, and it was a forward pass. Incomplete. Any other quarterback, any other team, that would have been the call. But no, they had to give him a sack because he is the reigning defensive player of the year. Well, he can take that trophy back and put it on the shelf because Michael Parsons getting it this year, by the way. But that was a BS call. And Cooper Beebe, bro, Cooper, 36 pass pro snaps and no pressures. Your first start at center. Oh my God, did we hit the lottery on these 2 rookies?
Yeah, I mean, hey, there you go. I don't even know if Tyler Guyton's more upset than my dad or Isaiah Stanback for making the prediction that, Guyton's not going to give up any pressure. There were times Myles Garrett got in the backfield.
He got in the backfield, but one sack for a game for Myles Garrett is really good, but that wasn't even a sack, folks. And he got credited for something that he shouldn't have.
And Browns have a good D line. Myles Garrett, obviously. Dalvin Tomlinson is the other one.
And you got Smith on the other side. Zadarius Smith, who's always gave us problems, even when he was at Green Bay. They've got the talent on that defensive line, and they was it Maurice Hurst also on there? Yeah. So it was their talent on the defensive line is amazing, and throughout the levels of their defense. J.O.K. as the linebacker, amazing. Juan Thornhill, we wanted him in Dallas back when he was drafted. The fact that the offense did enough to win the game is amazing.
Yeah.
And the defense they played complimentary football throughout the whole team. This was a team win.
Oh, 100%. And let's highlight a couple players on our defensive side of the ball as we switch sides. A common occurrence in this past week's game. Kalen Carson was the one standout for me. Marshawn Nealon, and how can you not? DeMarvion Overshown. I was heartbroken, and my dad remembers last year when Overshown tore his ACL, and I was just like, that was the answer. Like, I had gotten super excited about Overshown, and when you tear your ACL, and especially we experienced this with Jalen Smith, this is the Jalen Smith hoodie, when you experience a really talented linebacker who can't quite come back from a knee injury. And of course, Jalen's was definitely different than DeMarvion. It's so discouraging. But what was encouraging was DeMarvion Overshown, his first NFL regular season game against the Cleveland Browns, against Deshaun, against Jerome Ford. He showed up, he showed out, and I want to give him just the best defensive player on the field. Even with Carson and even with Kendricks and even with Nealon, I think Overshown outshined them all.
Well, Overshown, I would say he had a really great game. He was making tackles for loss. That sack that he made on Watson was the closing speed on that boy is amazing. If I had to pick a defensive player of the game, and it couldn't be my boy Micah Parsons.
I was about to say, it always comes with a caveat. We just expect it from Micah.
If it can't be Micah Parsons, and no offense to Overshown, and I know he had the injury and he came back. Kendricks had an amazing game, 2 sacks, a tackle for a loss, and an interception off a tip from Micah Parsons. He was there, Johnny on the spot. He was hit. He was making tackles left and right. He was second on the team in tackles. What a great pickup, by the way. Our best free agent signing of the year. Well, if I can't use Micah Parsons, although he would deserve it, even Tom Brady said he was the defensive player of the game. He's kind of set the tone. I'm going to go a different route.
Who are you going
And
with?
although I love Carson and stuff and what he did in the game because it was totally a shocker. Because when we talked about the preview, if you look back on it, that episode, we was worried about
Carson against Cooper.
Cooper had 2 catches for 16 yards, folks. We was worried about him against that other wide receiver that they got.
Jerry
Jeudy. Kid held his own. He held his own. But I'm going to give my defensive game ball to none other than welcome back number 7. Oh, baby. It's good to have you intercepting balls again. Shutting down players. Take that side of the field and just put it on ice.
And it was huge because we're obviously missing Bland. Diggs coming back from his injury. Stephon Gilmore's in Minnesota. So it was like, hey, you got Kalen Carson out there on an island. Can they pick on him all game? But for Trayvon to, basically lock down the entire side of the field, that was awesome.
And the best flowers go to Britt Brown, our rehab guy, our medical guy, trainer. Dude, to get 2 players to come back from devastating ACLs last year and in week 1 perform like they did, Britt, you the man. Congratulations. I know you don't get a lot of props on the open air, but Dad and the boys got you covered.
We see you. We see you. So yeah, that's a good segment on defense. I told you that we were only covering 2 sides of the ball.
But we're covering 3. We're going to cover 3. Because I got a question for you. Who, out of all the players, all 3 sides of the ball, is your MVP for week 1?
I mean, how can you say anything else than Mr. should have had a 66-yarder, Mr. could have had a 71-yarder? It's Brandon Aubrey.
I love Brandon Aubrey. I think he would have got a 71. And Mike had actually said on his press conference yesterday that he had took his headset off. And he was going to let him kick it. And they was like, well, flashbacks to
Alabama, Auburn.
The guy returning 109-yard at the end of the half for a touchdown. He's like, I didn't want to, risk a momentum swing. My MVP of the game got his first punt return of his career for a touchdown.
In regular season. You're Cavante?
Devontae Turpin. Cavante Turpin. I'm sorry for mispronouncing your name there. Now, there's a caveat to my MVP. And your daddy, I like numbers. I like connecting the dots and history and stuff. And saying, well, we did this and we did that. Thank you, RJ Ochoa. Because you pointed out something, and I did a little research. Because I was like, really, I cannot believe that in the esteemed history of the Dallas Cowboys, only 2 punt returns have taken place on opening day for the Dallas Cowboys for a touchdown.
I don't even know if I want to guess. How recent were they?
It's been a while. It hasn't been in your lifetime.
Has it been my lifetime? So primetime has to be one of them?
Negative. Not on opening day.
I'm beat. I've
all right. Yeah. So let me fill my young pup son in here. All right, folks. It was Kelvin Martin for 79 yards on September the 7th. And yesterday on the game day was September the 8th. September the 7th, 1992. Opening day against the Washington Redskins for 79 yards. And it was one of the sparks. And we talked about it being a journey. But it was one of the sparks that started the dynasty. So hopefully my boy Cavante Turpin winning my MVP for game 1 started a new dynasty in Dallas as we got Zeke running the ball, leading the way. We got Diggs catching passes, and then we got that defense rocking and rolling. And Zimmer coaching, baby. Zim, you had a great game plan. Look forward to game 2. Let's make sure New Orleans doesn't score 40-some points this time around. Of course, they're not playing the Carolina Panthers, folks.
They're not.
And then you got Cavante giving me dreams. Because, man, when you start saying the last time that this happened, the only other time in team history that it happened, started our 3 out of 4 episode. 1992 started the dynasty.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Credit RJ Ochoa for making my dad more insightful than me. I'll get you back. I'll get you back if you're listening to this on Fans First Sports Network, on Boom Broadcasting if you're watching us with Dad and the boys. He mentioned the Saints. We got them next weekend, and we'll be back on Friday to cover all of that game. So, without further ado, this is your permission to return to your regularly scheduled lives. I'm Michael Davis with my dad, Mack. This has been Dad and the Boys on Boom Broadcasting on Fans First Sports Network with the star-studded Cowboys Network.
Can I say one thing before we go?
What's the one thing?
Okay. On our next episode, my son will be dropping a link as we become affiliate with
Fanatics.
Yeah. So when you want to go get your game gear for the Dallas Cowboys, we'll give you a special code to use to help support Boom Broadcasting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Really appreciate all the support. We crossed 400 subscribers on the YouTube channel of Boom Broadcasting yesterday for Outta Pocket. So really appreciate that. We'll be back on.
500's coming, baby. 500's coming.
500. Hopefully that's not the Cowboys record. Hopefully it's a lot more than that. But it's been awesome. Thank you guys
that's
so much.
That's 1,000, by the way.
Hey, we
17-0, baby, going into the postseason.
Well,
20-0.
That's awesome right there. But yeah, guys, it was awesome with you. Thanks for coming into our living room, with the Cowboys gear in the background, and you can get yours. Fanatics will drop that link in the YouTube description, so you guys can enjoy that. But this has been Dad and the Boys, Fans First Sports Network, Boom Broadcasting. You may now return to your regularly scheduled lives. And remember, this isn't our first rodeo, and we'll catch you here next time.